It is 6 o'clock, January 29th, Pacific Standard Time. We are so happy to have you guys join us. I'm Harmony Woodington. This is the Glutathione Authority, Alan Ogden, and we are super excited to welcome Udo Erasmus as our guest today. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, it's fun already.
We got our tea and our water and our parrot in the background making sounds once in a while, so if you hear some sounds, it's him mimicking. Burton's hanging out back there. So we have a plug about a wonderful event that's going to be coming up on February the 11th. Can you tell us about that, Alan?
I sure can. I am really excited about this. It's called the, it's a fundraiser. First of all, I want you to know it's a charity fundraiser. It's in Richmond, British Columbia. So anyone who's listening to this, if you have friends, relatives in the lower mainland of BC, Saturday afternoon, February 11th, they are in for a treat. There's 4 speakers. We're all donating our time. Well, there's actually 3 speakers and 1 entertainer. And so Tom Locke is going to be there. Tom is was a very integral gentleman in the formation of the BC Sports Hall of Fame. He's got some great giveaways, some great stories, and breakthrough stories to tell. I'm going to be talking about glutathione, and then Udo, who is that face that you saw on Udo's Choice. That's the face. And he's here with us live. He's going to be talking about total sexy health. That's really awesome. And then we're going to have Will from he's an original member, Will Miller, original member of the Irish Rovers, to entertain. And Will has an amazing story that he's going to tell. And he's going to bring the instrument that his dad taught him to entertain with on Saturday afternoon. So there's going to be giveaways, there's going to be tons of information, it's going to be a lot of fun, you are going to enjoy yourself. It's only $30, you can go to the site, you can buy a ticket, and even if you just want to support us, just go buy a ticket, that would be great. But we're going to have a lot of fun, and it's going to be great.
It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, and thanks for coming out tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah.
So Udo, I'd like to start with your background. I'd love to hear a little bit more about, how you grew up and just your story.
Well, I was born in Poland when it was part of Germany during the Second World War. And before I was 3, we were refugees fleeing from the communists chasing us with tanks and trucks.
Wow.
And the Allies shooting at us from planes.
Do you actually remember this, or did somebody tell you that story?
No, I don't remember that. I just remember the fear and the anxiety and the terror of it. And that followed me for years, like until I was about 45. Whenever there was tension in a place, in a room, I would start shaking.
Wow.
And it took me that long, and that took a lot of deep personal work to get behind that, because there's something in us that never gets afraid, that can't be terrorized. But to find that place, it can be a lot of work too.
Absolutely.
And so I've done a lot of work on that for the last 44 years.
Brilliant.
So, but that's where I started. And out of that really came my mission in life. When I was 6 years old, we were living in Germany. And I would listen to adults arguing about really trivial stuff and being like really nasty.
Like politics?
No, not even, no, little stuff.
Little stuff.
Politics is trivial too, yeah, that's true. But little stuff, like really trivial stuff. And I would just be looked at that and I said, there must be a way that people can live together in harmony.
Yes.
And I'm going to find out how. So 6 years old, right?
At 6 years old, you decided that?
Absolutely. That's my life. That's been my life. So then I went to study science to figure out how things work.
Yeah.
Because there was chaos around me. It wasn't much I could rely on, I felt.
Right.
And then I went into biological sciences to find out how creatures work.
Wow.
And then I went into psychology to find out how thinking works. And then in the end, I ended up studying self-knowledge, because actually the most important thing is to know how I work.
Absolutely.
And out of that, that's basically my background. And out of that came, I got poisoned by pesticides. Out of that came flaxseed oil and a method for making oils with health in mind, and the book Fats That Heal, Fats That Kill.
Okay, so just hang on. And you got poisoned. How?
At
a job or working?
My marriage fell apart. I wanted to kill something, and I took a job as a pesticide sprayer, because pesticide sprayers kill things.
Yeah, they do.
True.
And so I did that for 3 years very carelessly, and then I got poisoned, which is predictable. What you put out comes back.
Yes.
And then I became really interested, because the doctor said, we don't have anything for pesticide poisoning. And that was the day that I realized, oh, my health is actually my responsibility.
Wow.
And so I then started looking, I had the background, so I started looking in the journals about health and disease, health and nutrition, disease and nutrition.
Yeah.
Because if the body's made out of food, then that's probably where you should look to make improvements if it's not working properly.
Yeah.
Should be one of the first. Water and air too, but
Well,
and who you surround yourself with too.
Yeah.
And but I think that's one of the first place to look, rather than running out and taking drugs or running out and doing, symptom suppression. Why not look at the cause of the issue and fix it there?
One of my, I think I explained one of my philosophies, that I went to school to learn about health, but I became a drug expert.
Yeah.
Right? And then when I had a health challenge that drugs couldn't address,
A familiar story.
I made it really simple. Well, we are made out of water.
Yeah.
We're made out of protein, which comes from amino acids.
Yeah.
Right? And we're made out of fats.
Yeah.
We're not made out of sugar. Sugar is optional. We don't need it.
Yeah.
We enjoy it, but we don't need it.
Yeah.
And so when I started to look at disease and how do we manage disease in the body, why do we think that we're going to heal the body with a foreign substance when it's, protein, amino acids, water, and air, like you say. Those are the things that we're made out of. Those are the things that we're repairing our body every day with. And so, that's just been the basis for my teaching for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
And
also in that story, I took 1 year of medicine because I wanted to learn what health is, because I wanted to help people get healthy. And I figured if I knew what health is, I could take somebody who's sick, turn them around in the direction of health, give them a push, and watch them get better. But then you'd have to know what health is.
Right.
And I found out in that first year that we don't learn about health in medicine. We only learn about disease.
Right.
Went and talked to the dean. I thought maybe we learn it later. I said, what is health? He said, we don't know. We're working on it.
Oh my goodness.
And then they told us in first year medicine that a doctor should always sound as though he knows what's going on, even when he doesn't. And that,
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, and that ended my career in medicine, because we call that lying on the farm. I couldn't see myself lying to people about stuff that is that serious.
Absolutely.
And so I went back into biological sciences, where you study the normal functioning of normal creatures, rather than, because they're always, in medicine, they're always looking at disease. And somehow the crazy idea is, if you study disease long enough, you're going to know what health is. No, shouldn't you study health to know what health is?
Yeah.
So in biological sciences, you were studying health. They weren't applying it, but you were at least learning how things work when they're working properly.
Yeah.
And so then I got into that, and so that's my...
How did you, just to backtrack a little bit, you were saying that you got poison and then you got into oils. How did you end up discovering oils, and was that the solution for you, or...?
Well, if you get poisoned, the easiest solution is to sweat. So water-soluble toxin will come out of your body in the water part of your sweat, and oil-soluble toxins, which are a little more difficult.
Right.
But if you take oils, and they need to be clean, then you will, the oil-soluble toxins will show up in the oil part of your sweat.
Wow.
So you can sweat all of that stuff out. So I did some of that. In the meantime, while I was trying to learn about health, because the more applied part of it, I ran across the damage that's done to oils. Oils are the most difficult area of nutrition. They're the most confusing. There's two completely opposite stories. Some fats heal and some fats kill. That's why the title of the book. And so there's a lot of complications. And it was the most poorly addressed area in nutrition and health.
Wow.
So I took it on. And I realized that when oils are made by industry, they're treated with Drano, then with window washing acid, then they're bleached, and then they're heated to frying temperature before they go in the bottle, before they go on the shelf, before you buy them, right? And in that process, they do part of it to get rid of half the pesticides, but the other half stays in, and they damage about 1% of the molecules, a half to 1%. If it's 1% damage, a tablespoon of oil will get you more than 6 million damaged molecules for every one of your body's 10 trillion cells.
Yeah.
So you got like 60 quintillion damaged molecules in a tablespoon. of an oil, the way industry makes it. And I looked at that and I said, we learned in genetics, you only need 2 molecules per cell to change gene expression.
Yeah, exactly.
When you change gene expression, it works different.
Wow.
And when you put poison in it, it always works in the wrong direction.
Absolutely.
Right? So we're saying 2 you need per cell, and we're getting 6 million. And I looked at that and I said, I can't get health on oils like that. We should make them with health in mind.
Yeah.
And so I then developed a method where we started with organically grown seeds to deal with the pesticide issue. And then we had to make very tight machinery and we had to invent it because it didn't
exist.
No, it didn't exist.
It wouldn't exist.
And because you got to protect the oil from light, oxygen, and heat, which damage them from the time they're closed in the seed, where they're protected.
Yeah.
Through the pressing, through the filtering, through the filling, until they're in a black bottle in a box, in the fridge, refrigerated oils, right?
Yeah.
Nitrogen flush, so air, heat, and oxygen don't get to the oil through that whole process.
Wow.
And then they're refrigerated, and they're refrigerated in the factory, in the stores. You refrigerate them at home. You never use those oils for frying. You actually cook in water, and you add good oils, about a tablespoon per 50 pounds of body weight per day. It's a food oil, it's not a supplement. After the food comes off the heat.
So here's a fun fact.
Yeah.
That people don't.
So that was a long answer to your short question.
No, that's fascinating to me. This is actually a subject that to be honest, I know a lot about a lot of stuff, but when it comes to oils, I'm fascinated to learn. Because it isn't something I know a lot about, to be honest. So, I'm soaking up the information.
Here's a fun fact.
You'll be sorry by the end of tonight.
Perfect.
All drugs come from, you know where they come from? Drugs? You know where drugs
A pharmaceutical company.
Plants.
Petrochemical
Oh,
industry.
Oh, yeah.
They all start
That's oil too, right?
That's an oil, right? So we're talking about...
Wrong kind.
So we're talking about the fact that oils are very difficult for your body, right? And all drugs, almost all drugs, are highly fat soluble. So when you take a drug, one of the things when we're looking at getting a person stabilized on a drug, for instance, you have to titrate the dosage, or you have to adjust the dosage to accommodate for the amount of fat in their body that is going to suck up the drug and hold on to that drug so that it's ineffective. And this is really a challenging thing, because when you think about how we treat depression, the brain is considerably good fat, right? And it's supposed to be, and we're putting drugs in there that essentially inhibit the fat in your brain. So when you talk about detoxification, right, and the fact that you need good oil in the pipeline to get the bad stuff
sweat them out, because when you sweat, you lose oil through your skin, and then your skin will get dry. And when your skin is dry, you know that you're not getting enough oil, because when you get enough of the right kind of oils, they make your skin soft, smooth, and velvety.
A lot of people, I don't think, are aware of that. I think they're just losing. I think most people think they're just losing water through their skin, not oils. So even just that, I don't think is an everyday known fact.
But if the little kids put their fingers on a window, right?
Yeah.
Then you get
marks
fingerprints. Yeah, they're called grease marks.
Yeah.
That's because there's oils coming out through the skin.
Fingers.
Right? But that's true, right?
Yeah. No, that's spectacular.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so one of the things, I'm just going to continue my little journey down the drug trail here. One of the things that when people go to lose weight, like, this is a really interesting thing. If somebody's taken Accutane as a teenager for acne, that's highly, highly fat bound. Later on in life, they're 35, they're 40, they haven't taken Accutane maybe for 15 years or 10 years or whatever. When they go on a diet, all of a sudden they'll get rashes, or they'll get their skin will peel, and literally that's from the fat that they're losing from releasing the drug into their body, and that can go on for quite a while after.
Yeah, and a lot of people when they start on a weight management program and they start losing the fat, then other toxins that are fat soluble are also released, and then they feel like crap.
Yeah, they feel
And then a lot of times they'll stop doing the weight loss program.
Yes.
So what I've been telling people is, if you do a weight loss program, you need to do sweating at the same time. And you need to do the sweating with the oil, with clean oils, because you know, because not the ones that have a 6 million molecules, damaged molecules for every cell in your body, but a clean oil, and then that will help as it's released. You can also sweat it out, and then you can actually finish your weight management program.
All right, I'm gonna go buy a sauna.
And get to where you need to go. You gotta buy a sauna.
Totally. Yep.
Make
Sounds
it big
good.
enough for two, okay?
Yeah,
Because
totally.
I like sauna. I love saunas.
Perfect. We'll make like an 8 to 10 person
Yeah,
one.
there you go.
We can have a little party.
Family sauna.
Totally. Exactly.
Well, I'm so excited about having you here because Harmony, I met Harmony because she had a concussion. And I introduced her to collagen protein, which was instrumental in helping her recover some of her function, cognition. Then I introduced her to glutathione, which gave her even better cognition, got her brain back, got her life back.
Antioxidant protection.
Yeah, the antioxidant protection. And, you know, the missing piece has always been the oils, right? And I don't talk about oils hardly at all. You know, my focus has been amino acids, proteins, oxidation, et cetera, but there's nothing worse in your body than a free radical oil, an oxidized oil. It's a killer.
That's why they're supposed to be made with health in mind.
Yeah.
Right?
So taking ones that are unhealthy, which is, I'm going to say probably most of the ones that are on the market.
Yeah, except, well, the only one that isn't damaged by processing is extra virgin olive oil, but you can also get damaged olive oils. So of all the liquid oils, they're all pretty much made by the same
Process.
way. Yeah, and none of them are refrigerated.
Right.
Right. Extra virgin olive oil is not damaged by processing, but it doesn't have any omega-3s in it,
Right.
which are the essential nutrient most commonly lacking in people's diets. Increases energy and increases brain function and makes skin nice and elevates mood and gets you jazzed.
So the oils that you were using, it was flax?
I started with flaxseed oil, but I became omega-6 deficient on it, so then I made a blend that's called Udo's oil.
Okay, so did you ever work with, or what's your opinion on fish oils?
Fish oil is a supplement.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people say, we don't like fats, so get fats out of your diet. So you go on a low-fat diet, and then you take a fish oil capsule.
Gotcha,
Right?
okay.
That's like saying, hey, I just found out that there's this thing called mineral vitamin pills. I am so impressed that they have all these essential nutrients we need. I'm not going to eat food anymore. You know, if somebody told you that, you say, you're crazy. That's not going to work.
Wasn't that the Jetsons? That was the Jetsons.
Yeah,
wasn't
they
it?
didn't even do that in Star Trek. They still have food.
I missed the Jetsons. But so the idea is you need to get just like you need your food foundation, and you take a supplement on top of that. It's called supplement because it's supposed to supplement your food, not replace it.
Yeah.
The same way you need to deal with you get your food oil foundation in place. And then maybe a supplement will be helpful in addition.
So
or maybe
if
it
you're
won't.
getting enough fats in your diet, you shouldn't need to take fish oils.
Most people, no, because there are different fats.
Okay.
And some fats like coconut doesn't have omega-3, very little omega-6. Olive, no omega-3.
I don't
very
like
little
olives
omega-6.
anyways.
Yeah, it's a strong taste. You have to get used to it. You have to be from there.
Yeah,
In order to
true.
You have to
really
grow
like
up with that.
it.
Yeah.
But so the foundation has to have omega-3 and omega-6, both made with health in mind, in the right ratio to one another, because they compete. And if you get too much of one, it crowds out the other.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
And they have to be not in plastic because plastic leaches into oil.
Yes.
And you don't want plastic in your body. That's petrochemicals. And it's like your body never even made a method for getting rid of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when they get in there, you get inflammation, low-grade systemic inflammation. And there's no method for getting rid of them. So don't put them in oil in the first place.
Yeah.
So put them in glass. So we put a box around it to keep it dark. Right? And you make your food oil foundation with what you get from seeds and nuts,
Okay.
certain kinds,
Yeah.
flax, sunflower, sesame, or from the oil. Once you've done that, that may take care of everything because your body will convert the omega-3 and 6 into the derivatives that you find in the supplements.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I don't take those supplements. And if I did take a supplement, I would recommend people take krill oil. because it's in a different form. It's not damaged. The fish oils are 25 times more sensitive to damage than the omega-6 oils that give you the 6 million damaged molecules for every cell in the body.
Wow.
They're 25 times more sensitive. So they're damaged because of the way they're treated, because they're treated like the cooking oils. So I don't recommend them because of the damage.
Gotcha.
Plus they have PCBs and dioxins in them. And the higher the fish is on the food chain, the more of that you got to deal with.
Yeah.
And so you get it from the bottom of the food chain. Krill is on the bottom.
They're the tiniest little babies.
Algae are the lowest, and then the krill is the next. And then they also in a form that is better absorbed and gets you better results with smaller amounts.
Wow.
So you take Udo's oil for your foundation, and then you take krill oil for your supplement.
Wow.
And you may not need the supplement. So what I say to people is, well, try the oil for 3 months, tablespoon per 50 pounds of body weight per day, mixed in food, spread out over the course of the day. See how you feel, or whatever it takes to make your skin soft and velvety. If your skin is dry, you need more oil. Do that for 3 months. Pay attention to how you feel. And then do that and add the krill oil to it for 3 months. And pay attention to how you feel. If you notice a difference, stay on it. If you don't notice a difference, you may not need it.
So what are you expecting to feel if you're optimizing your oil levels?
Skin?
No, I mean health-wise.
Yeah, well, skin, energy levels.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
2 big ones.
Your energy levels will be affected.
Yeah, we've measured in athletes when they do that, tablespoon of Udo's per 50 pounds of body weight per day, mixed in food, spread out over the course of the day. It's always the same mantra, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then they do their sport to exhaustion. So whatever it is, cycling or running or whatever, they do their sport to exhaustion before they do that, and they do it 30 days after they start taking the oil, and they get 40 to 60% increase in their stamina, increase in the amount of work they can do before they're exhausted.
Wow.
Because it increases energy metabolism, increases oxygen metabolism, you get tired slower, and then once you're tired, you recover quicker because you get tired from oxygen debt.
Wow.
And the omega-3s are very good at making the body able to increase its ability to metabolize oxygen.
I don't think that that's anybody. Let me know if this is something you guys have even considered would affect your energy levels. This is news to me. And seriously, I want to try it. It's amazing. I have pretty good energy, but I want to try it and see what happens.
And then some people try it and they say, well, I took your oil and I didn't notice. I say, okay, quit. And, why take it if it's not getting you anything? And then they quit, and then they notice their energy level goes down. It's like, oh shit, I wasn't looking at that.
Well, the incremental
because we don't pay attention to something. We don't know what
small, right?
What's that?
It's like working out. You don't really notice the development of the muscle when you're looking at yourself every single day.
Yeah.
But then when you stop, you notice the difference, right?
That would be one. Some people notice within hours. Some people notice within a couple of days. I always tell them take 30 days because you have to tank it up, because your body's big and you're taking a few tablespoons, and the amount that is optimum for a body that weighs 200 pounds, is a fair amount of oil.
Wow.
Right? So, but and it's so consistent. And once we sent out a questionnaire to people, we had 750 responses, and 76% of the people who took the oil ranted and raved how much better their skin was.
That is absolutely, I was a skin therapist for more than a decade, so I know a lot about that aspect of things, but how it affects your energy levels and such, that is news to me and quite exciting to hear.
And then the other one is you feel better, you feel upper, you feel lighter.
So do you find that it's actually like a mood elevator as well?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it lightens your mood.
Yeah, so this time of the year in particular, it would be really fantastic to play with it because a lot of people suffer from seasonal depression.
There's good research that omega-3s, when you increase omega-3s, you improve SAD, seasonal affective disorder.
Oh, okay.
And there are some researchers who think that the reason we get it is low because the Inuit never got seasonal affective disorder, and they had the longest night and the coldest weather and the least light of any place on the planet. Yeah. They didn't get it even then, but they also had a lot of omega-3s in there.
Yes, they did.
And so some people think that the reason we get seasonal affective disorder is because most people, 99% of the population, does not have enough omega-3s in their diet for optimum health.
We're all emotionally eating and drinking and whatever, and not looking after.
There's no omega-3s in beer.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
One of the other things, though, is they use omega-6s to stabilize and increase shelf life on food. So we often, without thinking about it, if we're eating a lot of packaged foods, we're getting a lot of omega-6 without thinking about it. And like you say, it competes, right, for omega-3.
Yeah.
So,
and no omega-3s.
Yeah.
Never omega-3s, because omega-3s are 5 times more sensitive than omega-6s. So they're much harder to work with.
Yeah.
You put them in packaged food, they'd all go rancid. Yeah. The food wouldn't smell good and taste good.
Can you go over again? Somebody's asking, what is the best oil to get in your body? So I'm guessing it would be specifically what you work with.
Yeah, well, if you go to a natural food store and you go to the fridge in the supplement section, you will find an oil blend in a brown glass bottle, in a box, in the fridge, in that supplement section, and it's called Udo's Oil 369 Blend. That's what we put together for people, because people say, fats are complicated. You start talking about all these things. Is there one thing I can do that gets me all the good stuff that I need from fats and none of the bad stuff I should be avoiding? So we put it together to answer that question for people.
There you go. So go to the fridge and get Udo's oils. He knows what he's talking about, obviously. If you're getting this happening, it's okay. Just go to the fridge and get Udo's oils. That's all you need. All you need to know is you need it. It's that simple.
It's true.
Yep.
We live in one of the things that I've dealt with over the years is that many years ago, where I had one of my drugstores, there was a study done because we had the highest rate of infantile asthma in North America.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that you begin to look at, of course, obviously these kids with asthma or allergies, there's lots of kids with allergies, can't use peanuts hardly anywhere on the planet anymore. These kids are very, very low in glutathione. First off, they don't have much cellular protective mechanism. But one of the other things is they hardly ever get oil in their diet. And as soon as they would start getting some good oil into their diet, their skin would change. Of course, their lungs would change because the inside of your lung needs to be coated with good oil, and then the oxygen exchange. So it was miraculous at the time to watch some of these kids who were, on a ventilator or on a respirator, on a, all this stuff that they had to pack around or go home and get on a machine, and just see their lives totally change by adding glutathione and oil.
Just by getting back in line with nature.
Getting back in line.
Yeah.
And we lived in a farming community, so a lot of dust, a lot of farm dust, in the summertime, a lot of dust. Yeah. And then on all the corners of this little town where we lived, they had a gas processing facility, natural gas processing facility. Ponoka, Alberta. Oh. And so they sent in a bunch of people to do a study on it. But one of the things that for me came out of that is the kids, number one, low glutathione, but second, they just weren't getting any oil in their diet at all. Yeah. Unless it was from processed food and omega-6, which they didn't need, right?
So you were talking about a particular book that you wrote. What was it about the oils that kill?
It's called Fats That Heal, Fats That Kill.
Fats That Heal, Fats That Kill.
There's no comma in that title. But even if you put a comma in, it'll still show up.
Will this educate people more about that topic?
It's a serious book on the topic,
Okay.
For the people, if you want information, it's a great book.
Okay.
If you want results, the oil is really good. You don't have to know why it works. You just have to know that it works.
So go to the fridge, get the Udo's oils, and then get the book, and then eat the Udo's oils and read the book.
Yeah, don't eat the book.
Don't eat the book
and read the oil.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to throw this out there because I know there's a lot of really, really busy moms that are watching this. I'm going to suggest that they get the cookbook.
Oh yeah.
So they know how to use the oils. In cooking, what oils to use. Yeah. And you did write a cookbook, right?
Yeah, I wrote a book I didn't write the book because I'm not a chef, and you would not want to eat my recipes. I eat a lot of stuff raw, and, I'm always in a hurry, so, I make sure that what I eat is good, but I don't make sure necessarily that it tastes good.
Right.
So I met a chef at a hotel in LA at a conference.
Okay.
And they asked us to share tables because they had too many people and they didn't have room for everybody. So we say, would you mind sharing a table? No, fine. So I ended up sitting beside this guy. He happens to be a celebrity chef by the name of Alan Rettinger.
Okay.
When Frank Sinatra was still eating, he would cook for him and Barbra Streisand and some of the American presidents, both Republican and Democrat.
Oh,
and he's like, and industrialist. He's got stories. I told him, you got to write a book about all those stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy stories. And he said, so I said, I need recipes and I can teach you how to use oil properly so that it doesn't lose its health benefits.
Wow.
And so he ended up making a book called Omega-3 Cuisine.
Okay.
Recipes for Health and Pleasure. There it is Recipes for Health and Pleasure.
Awesome.
I'm the health guy and he's the pleasure guy.
Nice.
He says, I don't care how good a food is. If it doesn't taste good, I ain't going to eat it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm the guy who says, I don't care what it tastes like. If I know it's good for me, I'll eat it, right? So that's why I had Recipes for Health and Pleasure.
I think
there's 140 recipes and they're really, this guy is like his whole brain. I think there's just a nose and a tongue and a presentation. There's nothing else in there.
He was created for food.
Yeah, totally.
Created to make food.
And he's so good.
But I think that's
Alan Rettinger. So I'm the second author on it. It's Alan Rettinger, R-O-E.
I will share the links to his books so that you guys can find them on our page. So don't worry about having to remember the names for all of this stuff. I'll post it.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because we can definitely supplement with oil, but I know there's a lot of people who do a lot of cooking. We have friends that have 6 kids, 5 kids, 4 kids. Lots of kids. They're doing lots of cooking. And the thing that I think the people I know, they want to teach their kids how to eat, right, and lead their best life. Yeah. And that's through food and nutrition. Yeah. Right?
I agree.
And sports and so on.
I would like, before I check out, that this information on health becomes folk wisdom. So it's not owned by specialists and it's not owned by special interests. It's actually available and kids learn it not because somebody hammers them with it, but kids learn it because they see their parents doing it, applying it in practice.
It's
in the kitchen,
common knowledge.
And in the dining room.
Yeah. That's spectacular.
Because that's where we learn how to cook. That's where we learn. That's where our health habits come from. And if you're, so busy people. And but that's our audience are people who are extremely concerned about their health. And the cookbook Omega Cuisine would be really good for them. Omega-3 cuisine.
So tell me, since you started to talk a little bit about wanting to bring the awareness to everyday health, this is something you want to do before you check out. Tell me a little bit about Total Sexy Health and what this current mission of yours is all about.
Yeah. I told you I started thinking about when I was 6 years old about how people could live together and all that.
Yeah, and that has nothing to do with oils.
And then I got what's that?
That has nothing to do with oils.
No, and then I got into oils because I had a personal issue. Right?
Exactly. It was meant to be.
But I've been thinking about. I still been thinking about it. So the idea. And health is what I ended up with. And health is now the trigger word everywhere.
Yes.
Except sexy is even a more trigger word.
Yes.
And I was looking for a title. I wanted to do all of health because actually you can't just do food and fitness if you want to be healthy.
Right.
Everything affects health.
Yeah.
Who you hang out with affects health. What your natural environment looks like affects health. How you feel in here. If your heart's aching all the time. Whether you're creative and have something creative to do. If you're comfortable in crisis situations and can stay focused and deal with them. That, all of that everything affects health. So I thought, okay, well, I have this thing. I want to address every problem on the planet. Right?
No big D.
And if health affects everything, then why not do it under the umbrella of health? So I was going to call it Total Global Health.
Okay.
But everybody, everyone's saying, that's a pretty tired title, right? Yeah. And so a friend of mine and I were talking about it, and he came up with the idea of Total Sexy Health. And I said, I can't write a book on sexy health. I don't know anything about sexy. And then I started thinking about, and I was like, no shit, I know a lot about sexy. I've been alive for 74 years, right?
Right.
I know what turns me on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And sexy isn't just about getting laid. Sexy is about being attractive and present and juiced.
Yes.
And so there's and then you look at well, what is that? Well, we don't know what sexy is, but sexy gets 6 times more hits than health does on Google.
Wow.
Right? At least 6 times.
At least 6.
So and where it came together for me was, you know what? Everybody likes sexy, and hardly anybody knows that the foundation of sexy is healthy.
Yeah.
And so then health is affected by every part of human nature.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we were just saying, right? So each part of human nature, there are 8 pieces. The subtitle is The 8 Key Steps Designed by Nature
Okay.
for Total Sexy Health. So each one of those 8 pieces confers a part of sexiness to a human being when they live in line with it. And when we get out of line with one of those, the part that it confers to sexy leaves the building.
Wow.
And when we get back in line, that part of sexy comes back. So in terms of total sexy health, if you're fully present in all of your being, in all 8 of those components of it, then you're going to be your greatest possible sexy.
Nice.
And because people don't understand that, they try to paint it on and roll it on and curl it on and dab it on and dab it on, and snip it on and, all the things that people do. And there's an industry that makes enormous amount of money that doesn't really deliver results.
Right.
Because they're not addressing it the way it needs to be addressed to actually work.
Yeah.
And then, everybody, especially women, because looks are more important to women than to men. And this is part of the biology of the race, right? And especially women, they always feel like bad about themselves because and it doesn't matter how much stuff you paint on. I have some friends like that are incredibly beautiful women, and they don't need makeup. And they don't get how sexy they are.
So true.
Just being fully present.
So true.
Right? And then every day it's like an hour, maybe 2 hours, and you got to go have a meeting, and then it's like, it's like there goes your day, right? And in the end, you put all that on and you do the cover, and then but you still don't feel really sexy.
Yeah.
Right? You don't still feel really present because then you tell yourself, well, if I was really sexy, then I wouldn't need to put this on. But they won't listen to me when I tell them that.
No.
Right? So that's what the idea of total sexy health is.
Wow.
And I have the book, but it's not done yet. I'm still working on the proof.
It's a work in progress.
It's
so
a
you
work
guys
in
are going to
progress.
have to wait to get your hands on it.
And I'm very anal because I'm not the guy who says, "Oh, let me get it out there fast." I want it to be really, really good. So I'm going through it and through it and through it. And I love what it came. I'm actually in love with this book. So
are you going to be talking about these 8 different key components at this event on February 11th?
Yes, I'm going to be talking about total sexy health.
If they want to find out more.
And I have a diagram that I use that I'm not going to talk about right now, but I have a diagram that has all of those parts, and I'm going to work from the diagram, and it's based on human nature, right? The nature of human nature, health and human nature, and sexy. They're all just like triplets.
I feel like you're the
Siamese
perfect person to talk about how to feel sexy and how to get down to that, because you're a representation of somebody that isn't putting all of that stuff on and putting that mask on. Yeah. And you still can be a representation of sexy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas if it was somebody who was Botoxed and Juvederm and duck lips and all the rest of that going, you can be sexy. I feel like...
I'd be talking to you like this.
With no facial expression.
My lips would be paralyzed because I got poison junked into them.
Yeah, the message would be lost.
Snake venom?
But I'd never have any wrinkles.
Yeah. Whoever thought snake venom would become so...
Yeah, snake venom.
Popular, right?
Poison your lips.
Yeah. It's amazing. So one of the things
Poison your lips in the service of sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be a great book, and it's a great topic for February 11th. So February 11th, the Total Wellness Symposium. Please check that out. I want to wrap up, but last week we talked about something. Harvey and I were talking about this. We were talking about pregnancy, and I had the opportunity to work with a doctor for 4 years, and we had great success with children being born without any childhood diseases. Mm-hmm. But the statistics in the United States right now are that 1 in 2 children, 50% of all the children in the United States, are at risk of a chronic, either have or at risk of having a chronic illness.
Yeah.
And I relate that back to, first of all, low glutathione, but also no fat, the wrong fat in the diet. Yeah. Not knowing, and like you say, there's so much confusion about it. I don't think people really know what to do, and that's why I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm sure we're going to have you back and talking about your 8 things, but just what we've done tonight.
But let me say a couple of things about that. The research says that if you increase omega-3s in your diet, and I add to that, if they're not poisoned and they're not damaged,
absolutely,
then you can improve with them virtually every major disease, every major degenerative condition of our time. That's what the collective research says. And that's because they're essential. It means you can't make them, you got to have them, you got to get them from outside. If you don't get enough, you go down. If you don't get enough long enough, you die. So this is like really important stuff. And if you bring enough back of them when you're too low, all the symptoms you get from not getting enough are reversed. That's what essential means. So they're essential. 99% of the population doesn't get them. There's your 1%, you know that, right? 99% of the population doesn't get enough. Every cell needs them, so they have widespread effects on every part of the body. And the best thing to do is to optimize your intake of them. Now, the second thing that goes with that, and that goes to what you do, is you have chemicals in your body, and those chemicals are chemically active. Yep. If they were not active, you would be dead. Yeah. Because life is about active, right? Yeah. So you have these molecules, they make you active and they give you energy. But when you have something like that, it's like a fire, right? Yeah. Fire can burn out of control. So you need something, you need a screen in front of the fire so that you get the fire burning where you want it, so you can enjoy it and it warms your house. But you want the screen so you don't get sparks flying on your carpet and burning your house down. Yeah. And glutathione, of all of those screens to keep the fire from burning out of control, is the single one that is most powerful, made out of amino acids in the body, so that if you make sure you get the amino acids you need to make that screen, that fire screen, then you're going to have a very good chance of living a very strong, very fire-lit, right? A lit-up life. That's a sexy life, right? Yeah. Lit up is sexy.
It's the way I describe myself.
For as long as possible.
Yeah. That's brilliant. That's a really great analogy. I really like that.
Yeah, that's a good...
That's why I love what he's doing. Glutathione.
Great.
That's our passion. So one more time, just to finish it, let's make it very clear where this event is happening. What is it called again?
Okay, it's called the Total Wellness Symposium. It's a charity fundraiser. It's happening at the new Autism Center on Ted Baker Way in Richmond, British Columbia on February 11th, 2 p.m. in the afternoon. There's free parking, and it's going to feature 3 speakers and an entertainer. And it's going to be fabulous. So if you're in the Lower Mainland, you've just heard Udo. He's going to talk about his 8 keys there and have a diagram. I might even have a diagram. And I know Tom has some really cool stuff to talk about.
He's a fun guy.
He's a fun guy. He has original documentation of the first time the 4-minute mile.
Remember the Miracle Mile?
Yeah.
You got to be there. He owns the Miracle Mile.
He owns the Miracle Mile.
Yeah.
So, and then we have Will Miller, original member of the Irish Rovers. It's for $30. you can get to see Will for $30 anywhere.
Well, you can always make a bigger donation to the charity, the scholarship fund.
Yeah, and there's going to be silent auction and stuff. But thanks. Yeah, we're gonna.
That sounds absolutely spectacular. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
And I love what you've got going on right now. It's so much in alignment with what we're doing in more than one way. So it's really spectacular. I obviously will be there. I look forward to seeing and hearing more about these 8 different steps. So that's really fantastic. Thank you so much, Alan, as well.
Thank you.
And I encourage you guys to like, share, comment, ask questions. I promise I'll get them to Udo if you have questions and you're watching it and you're not live with us. And share this with anybody who needs to learn more about oils. Everybody.
I'll answer the questions after the 11th of February.
Yeah.
He's not going to tell you about the 8 steps, so don't ask that question. You have to wait. And if you're not in Vancouver, fly in and come and see it, okay? No excuses.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're right by the airport.
Yeah, right. We're right by the airport.
So we haven't decided what we're going to be talking about next week. I might keep it a secret. We'll see what happens. But we'll see you same time, same day next week in my kitchen. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.